Hey y'all. We are now moving into our sorry, that is my kid's toy. It's finally done. But anywho, we're moving on to the second half of our last unit of the year. We just finished the six kingdoms and how those organisms are technically kind of like organized within those different kingdoms and put in place within those different kingdoms classified. So now we're moving into talking about biomes. Um, then we're going to talk about the living and non-living parts of different biomes, and quickly we'll mention biodiversity towards the end. But we're going to start with biomes just to kind of go over the different ones around the world. So this is kind of a fun part that a lot of the kids enjoy just because it's more relaxing to end the year this way. So, what is a biome? Well, it's a large, I'm kind of reading this. Typically in the classroom, you guys would be seeing my face a lot, but, kind of just go with it. But biomes, they're going to be large communities of plants and animals that occupy a distinct region of the world. Biomes can be land or aquatic, meaning like fresh water and salt water, kind of like fish. Some fish live in fresh water, some fish live in salt water. But biomes are pretty much like if you take a bunch of different ecosystems, they're like groups of those ecosystems planted all over the world. There are going to be some major biomes. Some of the major ones are deserts, forests, grasslands, like the tundra, like the Arctic tundra, and then aquatic, whether that's different oceans, etc. What determines a world biome? Well, to make it a biome, there's going to be criteria. It's going to be the climate of that region, where the biome is found, and what its geography is. You're probably hearing my little guy's little toy lawnmower thing he likes to push. So if you hear that, I apologize. Um, but the climate of the region, where the biome is found, and like the geography in that area, special adaptations of the vegetation, like what do these organisms do to survive in their area, and the types of animals found in the biome with their physical and behavior adaptations. Um, so that's that. And when it speaks of vegetation, like the plants and whatnot in that biome, how they adapt to their surroundings and live, and you know. So there's a map here. It kind of shows you where some of the biomes are, whether it's the tundra. You're going to assume that's more in like Arctic areas, rainforests here. Okay. So it gives you an idea of where everything's at. You can pause the video and kind of look, but um, and you can kind of see for us, we're like here, so it's going to be more of that savanna, desertous, grasslandish kind of area. Um, so some biomes over time. The survival and well-being of a biome and its organisms depends on ecological relationships throughout the world. Changes in distant parts of the world and its atmosphere affect our environment and us. Any change in one part of an environment, like an increase or decrease of species of plants and animals, causes like a ripple effect. So it's kind of like that survival of the fittest kind of thing. Um, but yeah, like eruptions in Mexico can bring like temperatures and death, even. Plants can go extinct. Same thing with animals. So just think about how one little thing can affect a whole species really over time. We would be doing that in the classroom, but just kind of, this isn't going to be like the six kingdoms where we kind of go through each one every day, because a lot of you know a lot of this stuff, but um, for tundra, you can actually have an Arctic tundra and an alpine tundra. So the Arctic one, it's going to be freezing most of the year. You would assume it kind of reminds you of like Alaska and stuff. You're going to have polar bears, seals, etc. Um, so yeah, and the alpine tundra looks like this. It can be cold, dry, um, not many trees. You can see really nothing much. It's going to have small shrubs and mosses and lichen. The coniferous forest, which is the taiga, It's just like a pretty forest. Like it would be like the perfect evergreen tree forest. Um, it's gonna be cold. It's gonna have you can get a lot of wildfires here, but you're gonna have a lot of your stereotypical bear, red fox, moose, etc. there. Um, the temperate deciduous forest is really pretty. You're gonna have more of your deer, rabbit, beaver in this area. You're gonna have trees like oaks and ash and birch trees. Yeah, grasslands kind of remind you of the area here to some extent. But grasslands, you're gonna have cattle like we do here. You could also have zebras, lions, giraffes. Um, yeah, so that kind of reminds you maybe more so South Africa with the zebras and lions and giraffes. But it's also going to be hot most of the year. And you can kind of see like these long, deep rooted grasses and trees will be in those areas. The desert, little precipitation really, very hot, cactus, scorpion, snakes, and lizards. I think you guys know that one. Rainforest. It's going to be a very diverse biome, meaning tons of different animals live here, but you can have really anything from monkeys, snakes, birds, a bunch of different types of animals, and lots of fruit too in these areas. You can get a lot of rainfall here, and you guys have heard that I forget the name of is the Amazon, I think, had bad fires this year. So, along with areas of Australia. But the Earth's oceans, you guys know most of the Earth is composed of water, about 70%. So, I mean, we have coral and different types of fish and sharks. If you've ever been to the Dallas World Aquarium, all over the world, you would see like the different bodies of water and what kind of fish and everything live in those areas. Some of it's freshwater, some of it's saltwater. So it's just very interesting. The chaparral, it's really pretty. I can't even think of areas where this would be, but like, you're gonna have hot summers and cool and rainy winters, lots of shrubs, um, mountain lions, coyotes, snakes, rabbits are also present here. This would probably be some areas in Texas as well, but we kind of have a lot going on in Texas. So, um, kind of going over a microhabitat, it's a vocab term, very small part of an environment that supports a distinct plants and animals. It's just going to be like a tiny part of a biome in a way. So organisms may thrive in one microhabitat, but not in 1-2 centimeters away because of a tiny difference in the environment. Um, so like, I mean, just think about it. Your house is like here. If you were to go 2 centimeters outside your house, you probably wouldn't survive forever just outside your house. So think about that. Um, so an example would be like shady area under a tree, underside of a rock in a stream, underside of a rotting log, the top and bottom of a leaf. Like it could be simple differences that could essentially make some organisms pass away. So that's pretty much it. This is going to be a little bit of a longer video today. Um, Hold on 1 second. So yeah, we're going to watch some of this video, not the whole thing by any means, but it just kind of gives you a good idea of biomes. Let me get to the beginning. There we go.
An animal on Earth depends on other living organisms to survive. How these living things interact with the sun, air, water, and each other is called an ecosystem. Inside an ecosystem, the organisms work together to establish a balance that allows all of its members to thrive. When we talk about biomes, we mean a large group of similar ecosystems. All areas in a biome have similar plants, animals, and weather. There are many different biomes on planet Earth, both on land and in the water. Let's explore some of the many biomes on planet Earth. First, let's visit the marine biome. The marine biome is made mostly of the saltwater oceans and is the largest biome on Earth. It covers about 70% of the Earth's surface and is home to more than 230,000 known species. Animals that live in the marine biome include fish, sharks, octopus, seahorses, dolphins, manatees, seals, and whales, among many others. The blue whale, believed to be the largest animal that has ever lived on the Earth, lives in the marine biome. Thousands of plant species live in the ocean too. Ocean plants are extremely important because they provide more than half of the oxygen on Earth. That's more than every forest in the world. Algae, kelp, seaweed, and even tiny phytoplankton all live and grow in the ocean. There are many separate biomes within the ocean based on changes to the temperature, nutrients, and amount of sunlight in the water. One special type of marine biome is a coral reef. Coral reefs are only small areas in the ocean, but about 25% of known marine species live there. They are built up over thousands of years by tiny animals called polyps. The polyps have a limestone skeleton, and as one generation of polyps die, the next generation grows on top of them, making the coral reef gradually bigger and bigger. Polyps depend on energy from algae that lives inside of them to survive. Since algae is a plant, they need sunlight to create food. That is why coral reefs are only found in warm, sunny water. Reefs provide food and shelter for many species, but they are vulnerable to destruction by pollution and overfishing by humans. The last type of aquatic biome we will visit is the freshwater biome. Unlike the marine biome, which is filled with salt water, freshwater biomes are filled with water that has very low levels of salt. For the most part, animals that can survive in salt water cannot survive in freshwater, and animals that can survive in freshwater cannot survive in saltwater. Animals that live in or around freshwater biomes include fish, frogs, alligators, snakes, otters, turtles, and beavers. There are three main types of freshwater biomes. They are ponds and lakes, which have still water, streams and rivers, which have moving water, and wetlands, which are a combination of land and water. Let's move on to land biomes. First, we're going to visit the polar regions. The polar ice caps in the Arctic and Antarctic are harsh places to live. Plants cannot grow on the ice, so most life in this biome is animal. By living at the edges of the ice caps, the animals that survive there are able to find food in the ocean. Fish mostly, or smaller animals. The South Pole is mostly populated by penguins. Seabirds like albatrosses, petrels, and gulls may also nest or visit there, and whales and seals thrive in the waters off the coast. At the North Pole, you might find polar bears, as well as water-going mammals like seals, walruses, and whales. Their thick layers of fur or fat help to insulate them against the freezing cold. South of the Arctic lies the tundra. The tundra is cold, an average of only 18 degrees Fahrenheit or -7 degrees Celsius. There are only two seasons here, a long, dark winter and a short summer. Because it is so close to the North Pole, during the winter the nights become longer and longer until the sun doesn't rise at all. The situation is reversed in summer. Days become longer until the sun stays up all day and all night. Beneath a thin layer of topsoil, the ground is permanently frozen, even during the summer, when temperatures may reach 50 degrees Fahrenheit or 10 degrees Celsius. This is called permafrost. There are few nutrients here to sustain plants or animals. There are no trees. The growing season is too short. Plant life in the tundra consists of moss and grasses, or small shrubs. There are still animals to be found in the tundra. Arctic foxes and hares, snowy owls, muskox, and caribou are just some of the animals that live there. Still farther south lie the forests. At colder latitudes, forests are dominated by evergreen trees. By keeping their needles all year round, they are able to make the most of the weaker sunlight. Farther south, the pine trees mix with broadleaf trees that drop their leaves when the weather turns cold. Forests grow where it is not too hot and not too cold, places with lots of nutrients and water available. As a result, a wide variety of plants and animals make forests their home. Moose, deer, bears, wolves, foxes, rabbits, and squirrels, as well as many, many kinds of birds and reptiles make their homes in forested biomes. Another type of biome is grassland and savanna. Grasslands are wide open land with low-growing plants like grass and flowers. There is not enough rain in the grassland to support tall trees, but too much water to be a desert. A savanna is very similar to a grassland, but it may also have scattered trees. Many different types of grasses grow on grasslands and savannas, and many large herbivores live there. Often, huge herds of grazing animals travel the grasslands together, seeking safety in numbers from the predators that hunt them. Although there are not many places for large animals to hide in the grass, there is plenty of cover for small animals like mice, snakes, rabbits, and birds. In hotter climates, we find the tropical rainforest. Rainforests are forests that get a lot of rain, and tropical rainforests are very humid and warm. Situated close to the equator, they stay warm year-round. Tropical rainforests have the greatest biodiversity, that is, the greatest number of plant and animal species, of any land biome in the world. Trees in the rainforest usually grow to at least 100 feet or 30 meters in height, and from the highest part of the canopy to the forest floor, tropical rainforests are teeming with life. Some rainforest animals never touch the ground for their entire lives. Small animals like monkeys, birds, snakes, frogs, and lizards are common in the rainforest. Sloths, monkeys, bats, anteaters, jaguars, and thousands upon thousands of insects live there too. The rainforest is an important producer of oxygen for the world, as well as a home for about half of all the world's plant and animal species. Many new medicines have been found because of research on plants that grow there. Tropical rainforests are so large and dense that there are believed to be many unknown plants and animal species still to be discovered there. But rainforests are threatened with destruction as humans cut them down for wood and farmland. The last biome we will visit today is the desert. Deserts are dry. Some are hot and some are cold. But when most people think of deserts, they think of hot places. Deserts in warm places may get very hot during the day, but because they are so dry, they are not able to hold in the heat from the sun, and so they may drop to below freezing at night.
Okay, so at this point, make sure you go back to the to do for today and check to see what to do next. We're going to start off really easy like we normally do and kind of just work our way up a little bit. But yeah,